So whether you want to start in a comfortable seat or you want to start on your back, just take these next few moments to simply arrive into your practice. So it might be a little bit of movement, just kind of shaking off your morning, might be nestling your shoulders underneath you if you're on your back. Don't worry about the perfection of this first pose. This is just to get really comfortable so that you can start to find this connection inwards. And so start to just notice your surroundings so that you can ground yourself with where you are. So especially with a home practice, it's really easy to dig into the distractions, to get frustrated with the imperfections of what it is to actually practice at home. But this offers us a really unique opportunity to truly practice yoga, because yoga goes so far outside of the bounds of a physical pose or posture. It's about mindfulness, non-attachment to the things that spark up a reaction, thought, narrative, or emotion. Yoga is a practice to get us connected to this deeper sense of self. And at the studio, we're really blessed to be given the stillness, the space, the silence, but that's not necessarily always present in your home. And so to just take a moment to acknowledge the space around you, acknowledge any sounds, movements, anything that maybe doesn't fit perfectly into what a yoga practice used to be a couple of months ago. And then just take a giant breath in through your nose. Fill all the way up. And as you exhale, just let all of that go. Sinking into your body. It's a big inhale breath. Fill up. And exhale to drop the expectations, the distractions. Just embracing where you are. Let's take one more full breath just like that. To let go of this idea that things need to be perfect before we start them. And that perhaps we just start to take these little baby steps through our practice. And in the moments where we fall out of connection, it's just another moment we can reconnect. The moments where we get frustrated are an opportunity to offer ourselves patience, to find and cultivate some courage in loving ourselves even when it feels sticky or challenging. And so that's what I encourage you for this practice, is just to notice your environment, to notice your physical body, your thoughts, your emotions, and then continually just offer yourself gratitude. Gratitude for what's right here, right now, for your ability to feel even when it's a little uncomfortable, for your ability just to move through whatever this next hour has in store for you. All right. If you are on your back, you can just slowly begin to roll to either side and make your way onto your, let's make our way to all fours for a moment so we can land into child's pose. Okay, so we'll start child's pose today. Big toes to touch, knees wide. Begin to set your hips back to your heels. Hands walk forward and then forehead down towards your mat. Now, if this feels like a lot for the knees, know that you can always take a pillow behind the knees to just lessen the depth of the flexion of the knee. And then allow this child's pose to be soft. So you don't have to be reaching and extending and trying to get somewhere. Just let yourself land for a moment. And as you start to arrive in this pose, that's where you might find more depth. So that we don't have to arrive at 100% from breath number one. That maybe we just soften into this place and then you begin to reach through the fingertips. You might even rock your head side to side a couple of times. Soften your shoulders away from your ears, even if there's a little bit of that active lengthening through the arms. And then just take a nice big full breath in and feel your rib cage expand out to the left and the right. So this opportunity to expand, to fill up. And as you exhale, feel that softening back through center. A place where you can let go, just soften, relax. So this reminder when we come back to the breath that each inhale is somewhere we can cultivate a little bit more energy, a little bit more drive. And each exhale where we can just let go. So that just like your practice, there are going to be moments that are a little bit more big, explosive, a little bit more energizing. And then at the same time, within that very moment, there will be an opportunity to be soft, to be slow, to find surrender. So begin to bring in some lateral flexion. So walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. Hands can land apart. You might take your left palm over top of your right. If your head does pick up away from the ground, just let it hang heavy, chin to chest, or forehead can root down. And really think about lengthening through that left side of your body so that you're getting this long line of opening from your left middle finger all the way to your left hip. So let your left hip drop a little bit heavier. And then gently walk your hands all the way through center and then over to the other side. Okay, walking fingertips to the left, now feeling this expansion to the right side body. And often when we go into this expansion, it feels like a lot of energy, so we tend to grip the muscles and try to hold us there. But can you reach and lengthen, and then with your exhale, soften into that space of opening. So that although your body is really big, it's not tense. That there's a relaxation to the neck, the tops of the shoulders.
That's what we had in our IFC for our Olympics.
Gently walk your fingertips all the way back through to center. Take one more full grounding breath. Let your body rest really, really heavy. And think about rounding up like a cat. So you're gonna slide your hands underneath your shoulders as you lift your hips away from your heels. Curling and rounding in, chin to your chest. And then slowly drop back to a neutral spine and walk your knees underneath your body. Okay, tuck your toes under. Spread your fingertips wide. If being in tabletop is a lot for your wrist, you can always walk your hands one handprint forward so they're a little bit in front of the shoulders. Use your inhale breath to drop your belly down. Lift your gaze and tailbone up. Okay, a little bit different. Exhale, curl and round into your cat shape, but then take your hips back to your heels. So you should get some opening in the bottoms of the feet and low back. Inhale, breath, shift forward, drop the belly, send your gaze forward. Exhale, take your gaze to your belly button, curl and round in, but take the hips back and lengthen through the arms. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Okay, let's take one more just like that. Inhale to drop your belly, and then exhale, belly button to spine, and then sit all the way back. Inhale, breath, shift forward to your tabletop. Okay. Keep your toes tucked, float your knees off of your mat, just about an inch or two. Okay, so a lot of effort here. Belly button draws up to your spine. No, press into the ground like you're trying to push the ground away, and you'll feel a slight lift through the shoulders. Okay, really working into the length of the spine through down dog. Keep the deep bend in your knees, but now shift some weight back. So as you push into your hands, send your hips towards the ceiling. You're gonna lengthen out your spine. Gaze is between your heels. Okay, maybe a little bit of shaking happening. Slowly, slowly, slowly start to straighten out the legs, taking hips high, still high onto the balls of your feet. And then as you exhale, drop the heels. Okay, it might feel nice to pedal this out. Pick up one heel at a time. Bend into your knees. Maybe even find some softness through the head or neck and just shaking your head yes or no. And then eventually find stillness. We're just gonna take about 3 full breaths here. So whether the heels are lifted or rooted really doesn't matter. But with each inhale, can you feel a lightness? Like you're pushing into the earth and everything is lifting from your hands and your feet up towards your hips. You might even lift your heels a little bit. And as you exhale, can you let your body press heavy into the ground? Almost like you're melting towards your mat. The inhale breath, a lift, almost a lengthening of the body. And exhale is a settling. Let's take one more breath. And then deep, deep, deep bend into your knees. Walk your hands to the back of your mat to fold. Okay. And keep that bend in your knees as you fold. Hands can reach for opposite elbows. They can interlace to the back of your head, or they might just dangle. It can feel nice to explore some movement, shifting side to side, maybe shaking your head yes or shaking your head no. Okay, if you do have a grip of your hands, just gently release. Take your hands either to your shin or the ground, halfway lift. Inhale, breath, lengthen. Reach the crown of your head forward, hips back, flat back. Exhale, fold. Okay, 2 more just like that. So inhale, feel the effort to hold here. And then exhale is like this folding back to yourself. 1 more time, inhale, breath, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Walk your hands forward, high plank. Stack your shoulders over top of your wrists. Take a full breath in, a long breath out. Okay, press into the earth, try to lift up through the shoulders. Lift your kneecaps, quads engage. 1 more breath. As you exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. All right, walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, breath. Draw your right heel all the way up and then open up the hip and bend the knee. Okay, so you're stacking right hip over top of your left. See if you can peel your side body open and then even a little bit of a twist through the rib cage. So normally we say keep the ribs as they are, but see if you can get a little bit more lift so your left shoulder might drop down. All right, as you exhale, sweep your right knee towards your nose. Step your right foot between your hands, monkey lunge. Drop your left hand or left knee down. Okay, back toes can be tucked or untucked, really yogi's choice. Take an inhale breath with fingertips down. Lift your heart, slight lift of the gaze. Exhale, send your hips back, straighten out your front leg. Turn your right toes up and fold. So chin tucks to chest. You're finding those cat-cow movements of the spine. Inhale breath, you might walk your fingertips forward or even take them up. And then exhale to your half splits. Hips turn back, front toes turn up, and right leg straightens. Okay. Take 3 more breaths with movement. And no, you can always use props, water bottles, blocks for your fingertips if the ground feels really far to connect with. Okay, so you're looking for that level of grounding, that level of connection as you move through this. Okay, so 1 more breath, just like that. Okay, let's meet into your half splits. So once you've landed here, just notice where your hips have landed. You want your hips ideally to be over top of your back knee. So if they're way back towards a heel, you can always slide your front heel further forward. You know, lengthen the spine. Feel like you're drawing your collarbones towards the top of your mat. Chin is slightly tucked. Press through your front heel like you're driving it in towards the mat, and then feel like you're slightly pulling your heel back. Your foot's not going to move, but you're gonna feel more lengthening through the hamstring. All right, a little bit more. Left fingertips can walk further out to the left to help balance you, and begin to twist open. Right hand towards your right hip. Maybe right fingertips reach all the way up. Now the sensation might have traveled down the outer line of your leg rather than the middle part of the hamstring. So get into the outer hamstring and even a little bit into the lateral line. All right, as you exhale, gently release your right hand down. You bend back into your front knee, hands plant. Tuck your left toe, so this is gonna help with stability. Take the weight into your hands. You might need to come up onto fingertips if your thigh is quite close into your chest. And you're gonna slowly begin to extend your right heel back for bird dog. So right heel is extended back, you're still in that tabletop shape. Take a full breath in. As you exhale,
curl and round, knee into nose. Okay, chin to chest. Inhale, breath, open this up. If you want to make this more challenging, you can always take your left fingertips forward as your heel comes back, and instead of knee to nose, knee can come towards your left elbow. Okay, 2 more breaths, whatever variation you're choosing. As you flex into the foot, feel the contraction of the right hamstring. Okay, let's take 1 more. So you should feel this into the back of your right leg. Nice, curl and round in. Okay, this time when you extend out, pause, bend into your right knee, take your heel up towards the ceiling. Okay, notice if you've dipped into the belly, scoop up through the belly button towards the spine and squeeze into the glutes, even if that means your right knee drops a little bit. And we're just gonna take 5 pulses. So think about lifting your right heel about 1 inch or 2. So just pulsing 5 times. So you should feel this into the right glute, right hamstring. Don't worry, we're almost through. Okay, now that you've lifted, you can pause here or take your left hand up, palm faces out, and then catch your right foot. If you have a hold of your right foot, you can kick into your hand, into that bind. You might just take your heel in close. Who should really be feeling this into the left leg now? Okay, if you are in that bind, you'll just gently release, extend out again. 1 more breath in bird dog. Inhale, left hand forward, right heel back, or left hand can come down, and then cross your right leg over top of your left. So your toes come towards the ground, over to the left corner, back corner of your mat. Okay, slowly lower onto your forearms for a moment so you can give your wrists a bit of a break. Nice. Okay, now you're gonna walk your forearms over to the right and send your left hip out towards the left side of your mat. So in this shape, you're gonna create a long line. Let's see what's the best angle for this. You're gonna create a long line from your left shoulder towards your left hip. And that left hip just did a whole lot of work. So hopefully that feels pretty good. If you wanna add a little bit more to the arms, you can always walk out your fingertips, tenting up onto all 10, and then just let your head hang heavy. Okay. Take 3 more breaths wherever you are and see if you can find that your ability to soften here. So it is there. It's just a matter of reminding ourselves that even in these moments, there's room to breathe. There's room to just be. Okay. Let's gently walk our hands back through to center. Keep your right toes tucked. Slide your right toes all the way out towards the right side of the room. Okay, so you're gonna come into a half child's pose. Pick up your left toes and point them to the center of your mat. So you're still facing the front. And then you'll begin to slide your right foot out and sit your hips back onto your left heel. So left hip, left heel. In a half child's pose, imagine that if you were to bend into your right knee, you'd come right back into that child's pose. So it's just the right leg extended. Option, you can always turn your right toes up if that feels better for the knee. If foot planted is pulling on the knee, just play with that. That can be nice as well. Okay. Don't worry about hips being fully back. They can always be lifted. You're just looking for that opening through the right inner thigh. Okay. Let's come back up onto your hands. So hips lift away from your heels. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. You slide your right toes back behind you. Reset, pick up your left foot. So now points to the back of the mat. Okay, send your right knee on top of your left calf and then lower onto your forearms again. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of fascia release because that left leg has worked real hard. So just begin to roll out this calf. So press down hard enough on your right knee that you can feel that sensation, and you're just gonna take your right knee up and down the length of your calf. Yeah, this one's, it's like hurts so good almost. So see if you can get both the outer edge of the calf, the inner edge of the calf. It should feel like a nice massage to some degree, so that it's that balance that we know we're doing the effort, we know that we're doing good for the body, but we're not harming the body with the intensity. So sometimes to create change, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable. And so just making sure that you can still breathe through this. If you are gripping your jaw together and scrunching up your face, see if you can just soften, maybe even turn up the corners of your mouth. to a soft smile. All right, let's take 3 more. Okay, so really finding those juicy spots. Maybe press just a little bit harder. All right, you guys made it. Slowly release your right knee back down to your mat. Come back up onto your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your left toes under and then slide your left heel back. So you're straightening out your left leg. You can stay here, or optional, you can tuck your right toes and come into a modified variation of down dog. So where you're drawing your left heel to the ground, right knee is bent, head still hangs heavy between your hands. And then wherever you are, let's meet into down dog. So you'll step your right foot back, you can pedal out your feet. Might be feeling a bit of a difference between the left and the right side. Okay, we're gonna come back to that right side. We're not quite done with it yet. Big toes step together. Inhale breath, draw your right toes all the way up. Bend into your right knee, stack into your hips. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Drop your back knee down. This time as you inhale, take your fingertips overhead so that your hands land above your shoulders. Okay, reach either for opposite wrists, forearms, elbows. So you're creating this square or even yield sign shape with your arms. Take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, pour over to your right. So right elbow drops, left elbow lifts. And we're gonna take a full circle with the upper body. So begin to curl and round forward, drawing your forearms towards your front knee, chin to your chest, and then open over to the left, and then forearms up to the ceiling. Okay, so just 2 more. Pour over to the right, curl and round forward. So feeling that stability in the legs. A little bit more work for the legs as you move the upper body, but allow yourself to be in that opening of the shoulders and the upper back. All right, inhale breath, take a big breath, elbows out to the sides, and then exhale, release your hands down. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Okay, turn and pivot to the left side of your mat, turning all 10 toes to the long edge, and then bend into your left knee. So we're coming into Skandasana. You can either have your hips at shoulder height or you can drop your hips down. Hands can stay on the ground. You can play with one or both to heart center in either of these variations. If you want to add in a little twist, you can always explore taking your right hand up. So these next few breaths are yours to feel a little bit of length in that right leg, especially after that last pose. Maybe feel a little bit of opening the chest or challenging your balance. Okay, just take 1 more full breath as you are. Shift once again to the top of your mat. So you're back into that low runner's lunge. All right, a little bit different. Turn and pivot all 10 toes over to the right side of your mat. Okay, if this feels weird for the right knee, just heel toe that foot more into the center of your mat. Optional, both hands stay down as you move through the hips, or you can take your right hand up and over to the front. Wherever you are, take a full breath in. As you exhale, lower your hips down as much as is comfortable, and if your hand is moving with you, right hand to the back of your mat. Okay, let's take 3 more breaths with movement. Inhale, reach up and over. Exhale, lower your left hip. Take your right hand to the back of your mat. Okay, 2 more. Inhale, like you're drawing a giant rainbow with your right hand. Exhale to lower the hips. Okay, 1 more time. Inhale, breath, lift up and over. And then exhale to lower. Okay, this time when you lift up and over, low runner's lunge. Lift up, turn and pivot your toes to the front. Continue to pivot all the way towards the back of the room. I promise this will be really nice. So you're gonna be low runner's lunge facing the back of your mat. Drop your right knee, lizard. Heel toe your left foot to the outside of your left hand. So it should be a nice release for that right quadricep and hip flexor. Okay, make sure that your left toes don't point forward. There's a slight external rotation, so toes will point maybe out to 10 or 11 o'clock. Optional to roll to the pinky side edge of that foot. You can even take your left hand to your inner thigh and add in a twist. Those of you that are craving a quadricep release or upper thigh release, the bind here can be really nice. So you can reach your left fingertips back, palm face out, and then pick up your right toes. Even if you can't catch your foot, you're still gonna get into the stretch without the bind. And then if you can, it just feels like a little bit less effort for the leg and for the hamstrings. Okay. Wherever you are, you're welcome to shift this position. We're gonna be here for about 3 or 4 more breaths. So if you're feeling like you need to explore some movement, you can make this fluid, or you need to change the variation a little bit. All right, if you are down on forearms or in any sort of bind, come back up onto your hands. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Step to yogi squat at the new front of your mat. So the back of your mat is now the front. Right foot steps to the outside of your right hand, toes turn out, and hips sink down. If this feels like too much, just take this up a little bit higher, forearms onto your thighs. Hands come through heart center. Okay, a little bit different. Normally we have hands in Anjali Mudra. Interlace your fingers and just take your palms onto your chest. Think about pressing your elbows into your inner thighs to create some space. And then feel this unshakable trust in self. So this mudra that you're taking with your hands is called the unbreakable. And it's to find that bind, that strength between the hands, that no matter where you are in this practice, that you'll be okay. This just faith in your own body, in yourself, even when that faith is a little bit wavering. All right, gently you can release your hands. Pick up your hips, straightening out your legs. Turn your toes to face the top of your mat, so the original back of your mat. Okay, and just fold the body for a moment. Okay, fleshing this out with movement. Deep, deep bend into your knees. And then take your left hand into the center of your mat, or left forearm onto your bent thigh. As you inhale, twist open to the right. So straighten out your right leg. Right hand can come up to your hip or the ceiling. If left arm is on your thigh, you'll look like this. If left hand is down, you'll just extend the arm. Okay, really kick out that right hip. So this should feel like a release after yogi squat. And then as you exhale, bend both knees, fold, right hand replaces left or right forearm onto right thigh. And then inhale, twist open to the other side. So left fingertips will lift up, right knee is bent. Okay, let's flesh this out 2 more times. Exhale, breath, fold, bend both knees. Inhale, twist open to your right, kick your right hip out, and then exhale to fold. Inhale, breath, twist open to your left. Exhale to fold 1 more time. Inhale, reach through the right fingertips, send your right hip out wide. Exhale to fold. Last one, inhale, breath to kick open through the hip, and then exhale to fold. Okay, inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, plant your hands, step your left toes back. Okay, low runner's lunge. This can be a little bit different. If you want to drop the knee, you can. Otherwise, it's gonna be a little bit more strengthening. Take a full breath in here. Okay, as you exhale, half splits, but hover the back knee. So you're gonna shift your weight back, bending into your left knee. Right toes begin to turn up. Okay, inhale, breath, you'll shift forward, right foot plants, left leg straightens, hands walk forward. Exhale, breath to shift back. Right toes to the ceiling, left knee is hovering. If you want to drop it, you'll just drop the knee and then shift forward to your low runner's lunge. Okay, we have 2 more breaths just like that, creating a little bit more strength in this active lengthening. Okay, the next time that you come into your low runner's lunge, let's pause, roll to the pinky, or turn all 10 toes to the right side of your mat. Okay, so you're once again gonna come into this shape. This time, lower your left hip all the way down. Okay, you can always heel toe your right foot in a little bit closer, and then walk your left fingertips out and just lean into this left shoulder. And you can drop your left cheek to your shoulder, so relax through the neck. And really think about pushing the bottom left edge of your rib cage in towards your left wrist. So you're opening up through this side all the way towards your hip. Right hand can wrap around your leg or plant. And just take a couple of breaths, closing into your eyes, maybe revisiting your space or this moment in your practice. the room that you've been granted to just be right here, even if it's a little bit imperfect from what we're used to. Okay, we're going to begin to shift out of this shape into a shoelace. So you're going to bend into that left straight leg, and then walk your hands in towards your body. So your right knee is going to land over top of your left. Now, if shoelace from this pose isn't available, bend into your left knee and come into a seated twist with your left arm wrapped around your right knee, right fingertips walk back. If you're in shoelace, really nice options to take that lateral flexion. Right fingertips walk out and left fingertips pour over. With the front leg over top of the bottom, it's gonna keep your hip rooted so you can get a little bit deeper into this lateral flexion. Okay. Notice if you're holding tension in your shoulders in the twist, can you just soften but stay in that shape so that there's a little bit less effort. Okay. You're gonna twist over towards the back of your mat, or what the new front was. So begin to twist over towards your left side. Plant your hands. Okay, pyramid pose is where we're headed. Pick up your hips and then turn and pivot your toes so they point towards the new front of your mat. Right foot is forward, left foot is back, and then just fold. Take your chin into your chest. Feel the length into the back of your right leg. Inhale, breath to lengthen. Reach the crown of your head forward. Squeeze inner thighs together so right hip pulls back. And then turn and pivot all 10 toes to the left. So you're now along the long edge of your mat into a wide-legged forward fold. When you come here, it might feel nice just to shift side to side to bring a little bit of movement, a little bit of fluidity, or you can just drape your body. Notice if you're pushing your kneecaps back in wide-legged forward fold, we want to avoid taking all the weight to the heels. So even just tip a little bit more weight forward, soft bend into the knees so you can really feel that length into the back of the hamstrings. All right, we're almost done with this side, you guys. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Keep your right foot parallel to the short edge of the mat. Turn and pivot your left toes forward. Walk your hands towards the original top of your mat. Bend into your left knee. Left hand is the inside of your foot, and then reach your right hand up. Okay, inhale, breath, fill up. Exhale, soften through the shoulders. Okay. Inhale, breath, lift up, warrior two. And then exhale, just sink through the hips, press through the hands. Okay, reach your hands up. Okay, hook your right hand around your left wrist. And then as you lean back, just pull on your right fingertips to draw your left hand back so that you're creating a little bit of space into that left side. Okay. Notice if this feels like too much, if it feels like you're gripping, can you just come out of it so you can still feel the length, but also feel the softness. Okay. Rooting through the feet, legs are strong. Okay. On your next exhale breath, just gently release, come back, warrior two. Okay, if your feet are quite wide, you might want to turn your right foot a little bit closer in, so just heel toeing it. Sweep your right hand down, turn onto your right toes. You're going to be into a low runner's lunge. Feeling into this length of your right hip flexor and quad because we've done a lot of compression with the right foot forward. Okay, now find a little bit of a bend into that back knee. So starting to create a rhythm. You're going to catch your right shin up towards your chest, standing on your left leg at the top of your mat. All right, standing figure four. This is going to be really nice for the right hip. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Hands can come to heart center or to your hips, wherever you feel most stable. If you feel unbalanced in this pose, walk off of your mat. That's totally fine. Find somewhere that you can place a hand and then just start to sit your hips back, because this isn't so much about the balance. It's really the intention of putting this in the sequence this way is to get into that right hip. So you might have your hands at heart center still. Hands can come to the ground or onto a prop. 5 more breaths wherever you are. So make sure that there is some level of comfort. You can really just sink into your right hip while keeping your right foot flexed. All right. Slowly, We'll begin to draw up if you can, hands to heart center. Pick up your right knee and then release your right foot down. Release your hands down beside you, Tadasana Mountain Pose. Roll your shoulders up and back. Close your eyes. Take a full breath in and long exhale breath out. Okay, take one more full breath in and exhale, let that go. Hey, you guys, I'm hoping that you didn't remember the start of this sequence, because the point of this is to get outside of those patterns and habits. Okay, so we already are outside of it being in our home, so let's just flow moment to moment, breath to breath, and know that just as you are right now, rooted, stable, strong, you can find that even when you start to feel a little bit unbalanced. All right, inhale breath, reach your fingertips all the way up, stand tall. Exhale, forward fold, let that go. Inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. Take a full breath in. Exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths, you can pedal out your feet, or you can just hold into stillness. Walk your big toes together to touch. Making our way to the left side. Inhale, left heel lifts up. Bend into your left knee, stack into your hips. And then as you exhale, just gently step your left foot between your hands. Drop your back knee down. Okay, and you're gonna move through your monkey lunge and half splits. So your inhales give you that heart lift. Exhales, a fold over top of your left shin, chin to chest. Inhale, breath to send your guidance forward. And exhale, send your hips back. So 3 more breaths, optional. You can always take your fingertips up with you and gaze can come up. And then hands come down to shift back. If you take your hands out, it's gonna be a little bit more work in stability, a little bit more work in strength. Let's take one more breath with movement, feeling that fluidity of the spine. And then hips come back. All right, make sure that your hips again are over top of your back knee. If not, slide your front heel a little bit further forward. Lengthen through the spine. So instead of curling and rounding in your half splits, finding some space through the back of your left leg especially, rooting through the heel, draw your left heel towards you, and then adding in that twist, left hand slides up towards your low back, or even reaches and extends to the ceiling. Squeeze your inner thighs together to plug your left hip back and right hip forward. Gently release your left hand down. Okay, bend back into your front knee. Plant your hands. Might need to come up onto fingertips. Now slide your left heel back behind you so that your left leg is extended. Foot is flexed. Hands can always walk underneath your shoulders. Optional to take your right fingertips forward to float, or right hand stays down. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, knee in towards nose. If you're extended, inhale, right hand forward, left heel back. Exhale, curl and round in, knee to elbow. One more breath just like that. All right, extend all the way open. If your right hand is lifted, you can release it down. Bend into your left knee. Flexing into your left foot, 5 pulses to lift your left heel up towards the ceiling, to engage into the hamstrings, engage into the glutes. Pause, bend your left heel in, right hand reaches back, palm faces out so you catch the pinky edge of your foot or top of your foot, and then you can play with kicking into your hand, really opening up through your right shoulder. Gaze might even come up. All right, feeling into that heat of the right hip. Gently, without slingshotting, release the grip of your bind. Extend out and open. As you exhale, release your right hand down. Turn and pivot your left toes over towards the right side of the room. So towards the bottom right corner of your mat or even further. And then lower onto your forearms for a moment. So you can just gently release some of that sensation in the right hip as you lengthen through. If you want to add in more as you did on the other side, walk your hands over to the left side of your mat, or even tent up onto your fingertips and let your head hang heavy. Okay, so still a little bit of work into that right hip. Really drive through the left heel, kicking your right hip out to the side. half child's pose. Walk your hands back through center from this shape and begin to slide your left toes all the way out towards the left side of the room. Pick up your right foot so your right toes point back to the midline as opposed to back behind you. And then as you sit your hips back to your heels, your left leg will extend out a little bit. All right, you can lower onto forearms, you might be up onto hands. Hips can be high or hips can be low. Really doesn't matter, just making sure that you're feeling into inner line of your left thigh. Try to soften into your shoulders and face. You don't need them to pull you through this. That your breath is enough to draw you through. Any sensations, any discomfort, even if this pose isn't necessarily your favorite, that there's always room to just be here. Okay. Gently come back up onto your hands. Pick your hips up so that they're once again over top of your knee. And then slide your left toes back behind you. Pick up your right toes so your right toes also point back. And then take your left knee into your right calf and lower down onto your forearms. All right, you've been here on the other side, so you know what to expect, but try not to let that change your experience. So really just taking the time to explore this side, pressing through your left knee, so you just massage out the right calf. It just did a whole lot of work and stability for you, so this should feel pretty nice, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. And don't be afraid to play with that edge, to maybe press a little harder and just see how that feels in the body. Try to keep the back of your neck long. You're not here for too much longer, so that we're not adding tension as we try to take it out of the calves. We're not putting it somewhere else. All right. Let's come back to your tabletop. Left knee plants. Hands walk underneath your shoulders. Tuck your right toes and slide your right heel back. So optional, you're either drawing your right heel towards the back of your mat or tuck your left toes, modified down dog, drop your right heel towards the ground. As you root through all 10 fingertips, sliding your shoulders away from your ears. And then we'll all meet to downward facing dog. So if your knee is down, just lift your knees, step back, pedal out the feet. All right. Bring your big toes together to touch again. Inhale, breath, draw your left toes up, bend into your left knee, stack into your hips. As you exhale, plant your left foot between your hands, drop your back knee, monkey lunge. This time, inhale, take your arms overhead. Okay, reach for opposite forearms, wrists, elbows. Okay, you probably just took the same grip as last time because we are creatures of habit, so just switch that grip. It might feel a little sticky. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, pour over to your left. You're gonna take 4 circles. Slowly just begin to round into your spine. Legs are doing the work to hold you steady as you open up through the shoulders, chest, armpits, curling chin towards your chest, and then opening over to the right. Actually, I think we only did 3 on the other side, so let's just do 3 here. Whew. All right, come all the way up. Take a full breath in, elbows out wide. Exhale, release your hands down to frame your front foot. Pick up your back toes. Turn and pivot over to the right. So your right knee will bend, left leg straighten, Skandasana. And giving a little bit of release into that front hip, lengthening through the inner line of the left leg. Hands can come through heart center. Hips can be lifted or low. Maybe you take that opening. So just take some time to explore whatever just feels good for your body here. One more breath as you are. And we'll shift forward again, low runners lunge. Turn and pivot all 10 toes to the front. Continue to turn and pivot all 10 toes to the left side of your mat. So you're gonna be on pinky side edge of your right foot, left foot is planted. Hands can stay rooted or you're adding in that left arm. Left arm reaching over to the front of your mat. Inhale, breath, lift the hips up. Exhale, lower the hips, take your left hand back. Inhale, reach as high as you can with your fingertips and over, and then exhale, lower the hips. Feel like you're almost sinking into this. 2 more, inhale, reach up. Exhale to lower. All right, last one. Inhale, lift up. Turn and pivot to the front. Continue to walk your hands along the right edge of your mat, all the way to the back into your lizard. Drop your left knee. Heel toe your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Now, your right toes, make sure that they point out to maybe about 1 or 2 o'clock, so there's that external rotation, maybe even a little bit more as you roll to the pinky side edge of your front foot. Just make sure in lizard there's no pulling onto your right knee of any sorts. If this is a lot for your wrist, you can either walk your hands forward or lower to forearms. Take 3 more breaths. If you're taking that bind, making sure that your palm face is out so that you're catching the pinky toe edge of the foot and that you're not on that knee, on the kneecap, that you're on the muscle above the knee, the upper thigh. Okay, let's meet into yogi squat. Right hand releases, hands plant. Tuck your back toes, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand, and then sink your hips all the way down. It might feel nice, take a little bit of movement, so you can always shift side to side. You can play with leaning forward. Okay, so just finding some fluidity in this pose, and we're gonna take 3 full breaths together. Okay, so hands come through heart center, full breath in, long breath out. Close your eyes, sink your hips down. Inhale, lift up through the crown of your head. Feel your spine grow tall. And then exhale, soften. 1 more breath, just like that. Inhale, fill up. And exhale, let that go. All right, hands come down to your mat. Inhale, pick up your hips. Straightening your legs, turn your toes to face the new front of your mat. Deep bend into your knees, plant into your left hand. Inhale, twist open to the right, straighten only your right leg, kick your right hip out, gaze might follow. Exhale, bend into both knees, right hand comes down. Inhale, other side, left hip kicks out, left fingertips reach up. And exhale, left hand comes back down. 1 more to each side, so just flowing with your breath. Feeling that length through the right side of the body, and release. And length to the left side, and let that go. Inhale, breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to full plant your hands, step your right toes back. Low runner's lunge again on the other side. Okay, this time, back knee is hovering where we're coming to half splits. Optional, you can always drop the back knee down to come here, or back knee is lifted, so it's a little bit more effort. Inhale, breath, you'll walk your hands forward, low runner's lunge. Exhale, right knee hovers, left toes turn up. Let's take 3 more. Inhale, heart forward, right hip drops. Exhale, right hip back, left toes up. Inhale, shift into your front foot. Exhale, shift into your back foot. All right, last one. Inhale, breath, shift into your front foot. Exhale to shift back. This time, low runner's lunge, turn and pivot all 10 toes to the left. We've been here before. This time, lower your right hip down. You can heel toe your left foot a little bit closer to the center line, or walk your right hand out and just lean over, right ear to your right shoulder, right rib cage towards your right hand. Don't feel like you have to be doing any particular depth or any particular pose here. That is really just about creating some space in the lateral line, taking a break from where we just were. Okay, now either coming into a seated twist or shoelace, begin to bend into your right knee, the leg that was straight. Walk your hands in towards your body, starting to stack shoulders over hips. So you kind of come into that seated twist, but there is that optional to stack your left knee over top of your right with the pinky side edges of your feet to the ground. Penny's trying to steal the show here. All right, if you're in that twist, right hand wraps around your left leg, twist over your left shoulder. If you're in shoelace, left fingertips can walk out and right hand can reach up and over. So you're getting that same side of the body that you were just in, but maybe a little bit deeper if you're in shoelace. If you're in seated twist, draw your knee into your chest into your knee. Should feel nice for the left leg. Soften through the shoulders. Alright, setting up for pyramid, unwind through center, both hands plant towards the back of your mat. Pressing into your hands, pick up your hips, turn and pivot your toes to the back of your mat and both legs straighten. Now you might need to take this stance a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, so just play with this pose. But simply, you're just folding over top of that left leg. Taking a couple of breaths to release some of the tension in the outer edge of the hip, creating space into the hamstring. And then as you inhale, reach the crown of your head forward, lengthen, and then turn and pivot all 10 toes over to the right. So you're in a wide-legged forward fold. Once again, you can just bend into the knees, begin to shift this side to side to create some space, just to not feel stuck here, kind of working through the tension. And then we'll come all the way back to center and take about 3 breaths in your forward fold. So you might interlace your hands behind your back and let your hands fall away from the body. You could wrap your hands behind your calves and draw yourself in. Just playing with whatever variation feels good as we begin to close off this part of the sequence. And then you can release whatever grip you have with your hands. Okay, lengthen through the spine, hands under shoulders. Begin to turn and pivot only your right toes towards the top of your mat. Bend into your right knee. Left foot is still parallel to the short edge. Right hand to the inside of your front foot. String your left fingertips all the way up. Gaze might follow. And then as you inhale, lift up, warrior 2. Okay, so facing towards the front of your mat, or the original front of your mat. Take your hands up. Wrap your left fingers around your right wrist. Inhale, lift up, lengthen, then begin to pull that right wrist back to create space in the right side of the body. Rotate open through the right rib cage, sending your right armpit towards the front of the space. Gaze might even come up. All right, release back down, exhale. Turn and pivot onto your back toes. Left heel lifts, left hand drops down and then up. So you're in that low runner's lunge. All right, you can pause here. And then when you're ready, you're gonna find some buoyancy into that back knee. Left knee comes into your chest, hands wrap around your shin. Setting up for figure 4. Left ankle crosses your right thigh, hands can come to heart center. And just beginning to hinge at your hips, drawing your heart forward. Hands maybe come down to the earth. You can play with the depth of how much you want to bend into your standing leg, how much you want to straighten. Just make sure that you have a flex in your left foot so that your left knee is supported. If you want, you can always steady yourself at a wall or with a table, just to make sure that you aren't fighting so hard to hold balance that you're actually losing that opening in the left hip. Especially in balancing poses, we tend to hold our breath and just power our way through. So can you just soften into this space? Last couple of breaths, making sure that we're still connected to this life-giving force of the body. We're not compromising for the pose. All right, slowly, 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 you'll take your hands up through heart center, standing tall, pick up your left knee, and then release down. Tadasana Mount Pose. Hands come towards you. Roll your shoulders once or twice. Take a full breath in. And a long exhale, breath out. Feel any sensation in the legs from those last few sequences. Quite a bit of strength, but also a lot of opening. So you might even just be feeling some residual sensation. Can you allow yourself to feel that, but to also just stand steady, to simply breathe. Inhale, breath, let's reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold, let that go. Inhale, breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. Lower onto your knees, and let's shift onto your seat. Taking your hips back, feet out to the side, around and in front. Okay, toes can turn up. Shift your hips left and right to pick up these soft bits underneath so you can feel your sits bones rooting down. All right. And then when you're ready, as you inhale, you'll reach your arms all the way up. And then as you exhale, just hinging at the hips and folding. So looking to get some length into the backs of the hamstrings, but also looking to get some length into your back. Allowing your chin to tuck in towards your chest. Allow your breath to expand into the space between your shoulder blades. Allow this to be a place of rest, relaxation. 2 more breaths. And take your time, just slowly walk your hands up the length of your body. Continue to walk your hands back and just lean into your hands, lifting through your heart, maybe even tipping your gaze back. And slowly plant into your feet. You can begin to lower yourself all the way down. Take a big, full body stretch. Reach your arms overhead. Point through your toes. Full breath in. And exhale, long breath out. And closing off with a couple of twists. Bend into your knees again. Pressing into the soles of your feet. Shift your hips over to the left. And then allow your knees to drop over to the right. Arms can cactus, diamond shape, or T shape out to the side. Allow your gaze to fall over your left shoulder. Close into your eyes, and once again, just notice your environment. Can you carve out a space for yourself to land even here in the imperfection of what's around? But there's still room for you to practice, there's still room for you to breathe. And we don't have to attach to every distraction, but we can just let go and step more fully into this moment. We'll slowly bring your gaze up through center, and you can lift your knees away from the right side. Shift your hips back into the center of your mat, and then it might be nice just to gently drop your knees to the left and over to the right, washing out the hips. And then when you're ready, you'll just set up for the other side, heel toeing your feet back through center. Pick your hips up and over to the right, lower your knees over to the left. Gaze drops over to the right. Keep your breath nice and long. Giving yourself that depth. You don't have to force or control, but it's just simply there. It's available to you in this moment. Now slowly begin to unwind back through center, both feet plant, shift your hips back into the middle of your mat. Might feel nice to take your knees in and give yourself a nice big hug, a big squeeze for everything that you've accomplished in this last hour, for all of the things that you've done for your body, for all of the breaths that you've taken. And then when you're ready, just gently releasing, extending out your legs, toes turn out to the side, palms down beside you, Shavasana. Take a couple of breaths to land, so full inhale, fill up, chest rises, belly lifts. And exhale, drop your body into your mat, feel that heaviness available. And with each breath that you're just gradually sinking deeper and deeper into this connection of self. I know that today didn't
necessarily come without difficulties or challenges, especially with practice cutting out halfway through. And this is such a testament to what practicing yoga is. The testament of it's not always going to be perfect, it's not always going to be easy, but when we're truly practicing yoga beyond the physical practice, that we're carving out space to just simply be in each of those moments, even when they don't meet our expectations or they're very, very far from perfect. And I think having this home practice has really, truly reminded us of that. So as you just lay here in Shavasana, that you give yourself permission to make mistakes, to stumble along the way, and to know that you still finish this practice being more than enough. I'll leave you here in Shavasana so you can take as much time as you need to close off your practice, and truly from the bottom of my heart to yours. Namaste.